Bronny James to the basket.
Hold on. Let's take a moment and talk about what in the world Bronny James just did. This is absolutely filthy. As a dunker, I can say that I never pulled off a dunk like this. Not only was this dunk in traffic, but it was with the wrong foot and the wrong hand. He didn't even slow down to gather himself and take off. This is really impressive stuff from Bronny James, and it shows a level of dexterity and coordination that's definitely going to help him out at the next level. Guys, don't be like Skip Bayless, don't be a hater. For those of you that didn't see, the other day Skip Bayless literally tweeted out, "Hey Bronny, impressive, but your dad would have dunked it left-handed. You sure got away with it though." This is a very bad take from somebody that was very bad at basketball, because like I tweeted out, the right hand is so much more impressive. I've got a lot of love for Bronny James. I can't imagine having the type of pressure that he has to succeed. Like that crappy Skip Bayless tweet showcased, everything that he does is going to be tied back to LeBron James. And man, that's a heck of a bar. LeBron has said himself that he actually regrets giving Bronny James his name. To quote Bron, "When I was younger, I didn't have a dad. So my whole thing was, when I have a kid, not only is he going to be a junior, I'm going to do everything that this man didn't do. They're going to experience things that I didn't experience. The only thing I can do is give them the blueprint, and it's up to them to take their own course whenever that time comes." Imagine from the day that you're born, people expect you to become elite in a specific field where only a chosen few get to participate and excel. Imagine that expectation grows as more pressure is put on your shoulder, while you're trying to figure out just basic stuff like life and all that. For Bronny James, he doesn't have to imagine this at all, as this has been his life so far. Since he was a little kid, he's been expected to follow in his father's footsteps and become a basketball superstar. So far, Bronny James has had a very interesting high school career. He would miss very valuable development time because of the pandemic, and then there was that whole torn meniscus thing. It's really funny. There were a lot of people that thought just because Bronny James wasn't scoring 50 points per game as a freshman, that he wasn't a good basketball player. And that never made sense to me because Bronny James played for a high school team that was stacked. For reference, Brandon Boston Jr. was on his high school team, who currently plays with the Clippers, and so was Zaire Williams, who despite a very sporadic season in college, looked pretty good with the Memphis Grizzlies this past year as a rookie. Is it not absurd to you guys that Zaire Williams, a teammate of Bronny James, faced off against LeBron this past season? If it wasn't absurd to anybody else, it was definitely absurd to Bron, who said that "I looked at Zaire a couple of times and was just shaking my head, just remembering a year and a half ago, 2 years, not even 2 full years, he was hitting a game winner to send them to the state championship alongside my son." So it's a weird dynamic for myself to see something like that, but happy for the kid obviously, but I had a moment for sure. When talking about talented teammates that Bronny has been able to play with, the list really does go on. Sierra Canyon is by no means a joke of a basketball program. Yeah, as a freshman, James only averaged 4.1 points in 15 minutes per game, but I mean, he was a freshman. It's safe to say that he's already gotten a lot better since then. I'm sure you guys have been seeing some of the clips from his recent AAU performances. The funny thing is, though the clips are nice, they don't even tell the full story. Bronny James isn't just the son of LeBron James. He's a really good basketball player. And that's something that I have a lot of confidence in saying. Though I'm not big on comparisons, and Bronny and Bron are two completely different players. When you watch the highlights of him pinning shots against the backboard and leading fast breaks, it can be hard for people not to make the comparison. Perhaps my favorite thing about Bronny is that he's not your typical high school player. And what I mean by that is he's a two-way, meaning that he values the defensive side of the basketball as much as the offensive. Bronny has a great build, great athleticism, and elite foot speed that he uses to his advantage. This, along with his natural instincts, help to take his defense to another level. His natural instincts also help him on the offensive side of the basketball. I can't overstate how good his understanding and feel for the game is, especially at such a young age. A lot of times, especially in high school, we see players with all of the athleticism, all of the traits, and all of the ability, but none of the feel for the game of basketball. They go on to dominate high school, but then when they get to the next level or the level after that, which is the NBA, they're unplayable or simply not a winning basketball player, and everybody wonders what happened. An evolving part of Bronny's game is his ability to score off of the bounce. For a guard, this is very valuable, and it's even more valuable when we talk about playing at the next level. If you can play make, but you're not a threat on the offensive side of the basketball, then how valuable is your playmaking? If Trae Young wasn't the scorer that he was, then how valuable would his playmaking be? would he still be Trae Young? Speaking of Trae Young, like Trae Young, Bronny James has shown the ability to shoot the ball pretty well. In a recent EYBL game, Bronny James recorded 28 points, 6 assists, and 3 rebounds while going 5 of 11 from deep. There is a group of people out there that actually think that Bronny James projects to be a better shooter than LeBron James, which to me would be very impressive because I'm not sure how many people know how good of a shooter that LeBron actually is. If you go to ESPN.com and you go down to Bron's three-point percentage, you'll see that he shot 35.9% from the three-point line, which is around league average. If you're shooting around league average from 3, maybe you're not blowing anybody away. But here's the thing. LeBron takes and makes some incredibly tough shots. So Bron's 36% is a little different from everybody else's 36%. He has that whole Luka Doncic thing going on where people sleep on how good of a shooter he really is because he just takes really tough shots. LeBron actually shot 45% on wide open threes, but how often is this guy wide open? So yeah, if Bronny actually does end up being a better shooter than LeBron, watch out because the finishing and the physicality is already there. As you guys have seen throughout this video, he can get to the rim and he can absolutely finish. This is somebody that has already shown us that they have the ability to play above the rim. In the comments below, I want to know if you guys think that Bronny James has what it takes to be a successful NBA player. In my opinion, he does. It's just really hard at this point to project what type of player he will be. I know that there are some people that see him in some of the traits that he has already and see role player, not me. With Bronny, I see a lot of upside and I really do think that the sky is the limit. He has all of the tools at his disposal. He just has to work a bit on refining his game. Every year that I've seen him play, I've seen marked and drastic improvement, and I have no reason to think that that's going to stop anytime soon. Again, Bronny isn't just somebody that was named LeBron James Jr. This is somebody that is actually the 39th ranked player according to ESPN in the 2023 recruiting class. That in itself is very impressive. Now, since I brought up Bronny James potentially playing at the NBA level, I really feel like I can't leave this out. Bron wants to make sure that he plays with Bronny James at all costs. Bron said himself that my last year will be played with my son. Wherever Bronny is at, that's where I'll be. I would do whatever it takes to play with my son for 1 year. It's not about the money at that point. As you guys know, I'm a Pelicans fan, and as a Pelicans fan, I'm going to be pounding the table for the New Orleans Pelicans to select Bronny James in the 2024 NBA draft, if he declares. If you draft Bronny, not only do you have the potential to get this fantastic prospect, but you also have the potential to get one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball. And that right there is devastating. Imagine if Bron pulls a Tom Brady and is still filthy into his 40s. You know what, let me relax a little bit. Now maybe this is just Bron's way to get some team to potentially reach on Bronny, or maybe he's being serious. Let me know what you guys think of everything down in the comments below. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm GetLikeCoop, bringing you guys the scoop. Until our next upload.